All right. Hello, folks. Welcome.
We're back.
We're back. Yeah. Sorry, everyone. I was out of town for a memorial service, but I'm back and feeling more alive than ever. Um, for those of you who are new, my name is Dan Reynolds. I'm currently a senior technical audio designer at Epic Games. This is not an official live stream of any sort. We just hang out. This is a live stream where we hang out. We talk about game audio, and we do game audio. We do game audio. We talk about game audio, mostly technical stuff. And I'm shared by Eric Buchholz, who can introduce himself.
Yeah, hey, I'm Eric Buchholz. I'm also currently a technical audio designer at Epic. Yeah, I'm just ready to dive into some more stuff this week.
Yeah, we're back. Yeah, so we kind of have been doing some exploration, but something that it happened recently in the last week or so, or at least since we last did this whole thing. Preview 1 for 5.6 came out, the UE 5.6, which is pretty cool. And as we mentioned in the past, the as folks who work internally at Epic, we don't really see versions very well. It's like we definitely have there's a lot of activity, there's a lot of work around version releases, but it's sometimes difficult to remember where the cutoff is for features because internally they just sort of trickle in. And so yeah, we're gonna take a look at some stuff. I've got some things that I think are kind of interesting that I want to point out. I think Eric's got something cool that he wants to share. And yeah, that's kind of what we're gonna do. And then maybe at the end we'll try to figure out what we want to do next week. So yeah, here, let me share my screen. Oh, look at this. I forgot to share my screen. Let me share my screen.
Have you compiled all your shaders yet?
You're gonna see a lot of programmer art here. There we go. Look at this.
Okay.
So this is actually an older project that I've used in the past to sort of demo soundscape. And so I've got these are my programmer trees. And these are my programmer ferns. And my programmer flowers. You like that? Look at that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You gotta hide the decals though.
Oh yeah, I know. What is that? G? Is it G? Oh yeah, there you go. G.
Now you can see them.
There you go. Look at that. Beautiful. Yeah, you could tell that I could not be bothered, setting up the Quixel bridge on this project.
Hey, whatever works, You get the idea across.
Yeah, hey, look, if you can't tell these are trees, you've got no imagination. You need to start touching some grass. Yeah. So, or reading books, I guess.
I don't know how many. I mean, I guess if they're picture books, they might have trees that you can.
Well,
identify.
I'm just saying, sometimes the abstract, sometimes the description can evoke imagination. That's something.
That's true.
It's something that I find that I use less and less of the more I do stuff with, video games and movies and yeah. So it's always good to kind of get back into that.
Keep the imagination alive.
It's cheesy, but it's really important. Oh yeah, and I have my my Virgil's root beer. I don't know if you can see that. For those of you who care, I don't drink, but I do like root beer. Yeah, so one of the things that I thought would be fun to look at, there are some new there's some new tabs in Audio Insights, which is kind of neat. So we had the sources, the virtual loops, and the submixes, and the audio buses before. But now we have a sounds tab, a control bus tab, and a modulation matrix tab. And if this has not been obvious so far, Audio Insights is like a major feature that is constantly a work in progress. So you'll just see sort of a trickle of features come into Audio Insights over many versions, and a lot of these asks, especially these new asks, have been driven by folks internally who are trying to do stuff. So that's part of why I wanted to load this up, because it was a map that I knew that I had. It wasn't too heavyweight, and it had a fair amount of sounds. And actually, I think there is a bug that I have to resolve in this map after my update, because I have to like trigger the volume before my my sounds start playing. But yeah, so here we've got soundscape, spawn and sounds.
I'm not hearing it. Maybe folks on.
You know what? You're right.
are.
I need to. This is like a Zoom call. I need to like share my audio. I think I can just. Can I just edit that? Okay. I think I just have to reshare it. Entire screen. Oh, that's why. Yeah, okay. This, there. Life is a Zoom call. How's that? Is that
I'm still
might be
not
cool.
hearing stuff, but maybe it's quiet.
Might be kind of quiet. Yeah, I mean it's let's bring in insights.
Oh yeah, I'm not hearing that.
So here's the sources tab, and this is very much like the stats, the old stats group that we're used to seeing in debug. Oh, you can see my frame rate drop because the Unreal is in focus. Oh, Stephen Lawless can hear it. See, Stephen?
Okay, I'm pulling
There
up
we go.
YouTube.
I can hear it. There you go.
I'm missing out.
Yeah, you know what it is Stephen turns the volume up. That's what it is.
Oh, actually,
yeah.
I do have it muted, so that would be why.
Well, that would be.
I had the intro music
Hello,
muted. I didn't
everyone.
want to listen to it.
Welcome to the
step number one of troubleshooting.
We're audio professionals.
Is it muted? Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Happens to the best of us,
Well, audio folks have like the most complicated audio setups, so
not me.
that's true. You have no excuse. Anyway,
I told you I am not a smart person. Okay.
Yeah, that's trying to trick us all is what's going on there. So these are the ones we've seen before. There's the submixes. I don't know if this was there before. This is it shows that they're active submixes, which is pretty cool, I think. Right. And then, but yeah, so the sounds is the killer one. So here, what sounds does is it's kind of like, the sources tab. It shows you what's playing, but it's organized. And you can see here we have super groups like meta sounds, sound waves are separated out. And what's also really, really cool is, and this is something that I think we've been wanting for a while, is you see these grayed out ones. These are sound instances that were previously playing. So in other words, because like one of the problems with this is it's like a sound will play for like a fraction of a second, and the it's like, oh, I thought I saw it, and usually you have to do like a screen grab or something like that to try to sort of rewind and see what played. Whereas here you've got the little sort of tails ghost of that sound playing, and then you can sort of click it, double click it, and it'll zip to the asset in your. Well, I guess I already have a bunch of these selected already. But yeah, you can just sort of. Maybe not. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot also. Oh, maybe that's yet to be implemented, but there is a browse to asset. There we go. There's the asset, and then the other thing that's cool is I forgot about this is you can pin a sound. So now you have a pinned group. So if you're like, oh, I've been looking for this sound for a while, or I want to watch this sound come in and out, then you can. So yeah, so that's really cool. And then the other thing that is new is there's a couple things. Is we now have audio modulation control bus monitoring. So I have a really basic control bus and a control bus mix here. It's literally one control bus for the insects and a mix that mutes them. What's cool is you can see the value come down and then return, etc. This value will move. And then the other thing is here, when we activate a mix, it'll appear here. And you can see there'll be columns for each of the control buses that are being influenced, and so it's kind of like the sound modulation stat view, but the old stat view used to like run off the screen. So yeah, and then but the other thing that I wanted to show, which is cool, which is brand new, and when I say brand new, it's brand new. So you should all try it out and see if you can break it, and let us know. But you can now set durations on your control bus mixes. So in other words, you can have control bus mixes that are activated and then deactivate themselves after a certain amount of time. So this is basically the last piece in the puzzle for burying sound class mixes and passive mix modifiers. You no longer need them. Stop using them.
Hooray.
Yeah. And so you'll see that up at the top in the configuration. And so here I'll activate the mix and we'll watch the insect control bus volume go down, and then in 5 seconds it will release this 5 seconds. A negative value is like the default, and that means that it's going to be sort of infinite duration. So here I'm activating it, boom, and then all the insects quiet, and then they come back. So yeah, that's some cool stuff in the audio insights world.
I actually hadn't even tried out the sounds tab yet.
Oh yeah, sounds tab is cool. Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I mean, I think even that's still a work in progress. I think there's, because it's pretty fresh, and so I suspect there's going to be a lot of feature requests and things like that around it.
Yeah.
But I want to move on to meta sounds. Some new stuff. It might be kind of a boring thing, but I think it's a big deal. There are 2 new things that you can look at. I'm sorry I don't have anything flashy to show because they are very, very new. And so I haven't had time to I've been able to spend time with them yet. But if you there's actually a new plugin. If you go to your plugins, your audio plugins, you'll see a plugin called Metasound Experimental. And there are a couple new nodes and actually a handful of new types, methods of creating meta sounds. And so especially if you're interested in making your own meta sounds, this is something you should definitely check out. And there are two big things that we've been wanting literally since the beginning, since the very beginning. They were on the roadmap. They were on the meta sound design doc, and like before the front end was being built out. It's just a matter of time. It just takes a while to get to everything. The first one is what we're calling a channel agnostic type, and you'll see a handful of new nodes that support this type. And we're just for short we're calling it cat. And there is there's a wave writer node that is channel agnostic. Is the only implemented like proper node so far. So this is going to be if you're interested in writing meta sound nodes, this is going to be your example node for using cat type. And then you'll see there's a node cutely called a configurable node. And this is literally just a demo node that demonstrates a new feature called node configuration. So cat requires node configuration, so they're sort of dependent upon each other. But yeah, configurable node configuration, what that means is that if you select a node, now you'll see in the details panel on the left that there's actually data there that you can edit. That's a struct of data that is then fed into the metasound operators create operator. Well, there's actually a couple ways to get the data. There's like a new operator data interface, and then there's there are methods for injecting changes to the metasound node in the create operator method. So check out the plugin source code if you're a metasound node maker, and take a look at there's some pretty decent comments that sort of describe the data flow. I have only just literally just this afternoon looked over it. So I was hoping that maybe I could configure one of my my nodes, but not in time. Maybe for next week or something. So here you see this the num inputs, num outputs, and you can just type in a value and it'll just update the node. Pretty sweet. So, and it'll also retain connections when applicable, so but it won't like if you delete a connection, then obviously that's gonna be a problem, but this is the beginning of getting rid of all of these instanced versions of stuff, like the mixer, like these stupid things, mono, the 8 mixer types, we just want one mixer. It's like, think about this. You could have one mixer and then you select the channel configuration and you select the number of outputs, or maybe you use a channel agnostic mixer and you don't care the channel configuration. It takes whatever. And then, and then you have X number of inputs. Anyway, this is awesome. And then the other thing that's really cool is this string. This is really cool. I think this is probably the coolest part of it. Is this string value is not is fed into the operator directly. So in other words, it's not about configuring input data or output data. It's about injecting, and this is a ustruct. So it's injecting, data directly into the operator. And so if you think about it, like you could have, this is like where you could potentially have, and it's done through a method. It's done through the interface, this operator data interface. So you could imagine having complex, like you could have like a curve reference, like an asset reference, curve reference, or something like that, or so, and then it just samples the data when it calls that data method and passes it as like maybe a lookup table, the operator, something like that. You can imagine customizing the data, and so right now the way that this works is I think the string prints when you trigger. So I think that's like the example. Let's see if like, is this the log here? Oh, I don't have the log up. There we go. Yeah. Dock it. Actually, put it. Can I? Oh, this is the other log. Where's my my log window? My dockable log window. I thought it was this guy. I think I need to do. Oh, no. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, there you go. Boop. Oh. Yes. Did the configure string make it? Yes. Oh, maybe it was just on play. It was the first one? I don't know. I'd have to look at the code. But that's basically it. It's like this string prints to a log. But the important part is that the string is defined here, and it's passed through a ustruct, which is cool. Anyway, so that's that. And then the channel agnostic stuff is like the ultimate, let's clean up the graph. No more meta sounds graphs from hell. That's the rule. No more meta sound graphs from hell. So here's, so for example, here's the format, and then you can be like, oh, look at all these formats to choose from. I want a quad format, and then I want to go through a casting node that's going to convert the quad to stereo output, and the method, the transcoding method, is going to be to mix up or down with equal power mixing, and then boop. So here you've got, basically wrangling your stupid audio cables. So you don't have to deal with mono cables anymore, if you don't want to, and support for converting up and down, for mixing up and down, and or dropping up and down to different channel configuration types. And you can kind of see that this is very future facing, where we're like, look at all these options here, including like an Atmos bed. Like, why not? Why not? So what we hope to see in the future with these, the sort of, these are like the early flags in the ground. That's like, hey, look, this is where we see, where we're trying to push things. And so you can imagine the future where you've got node configuration, where you've got nodes, like, because one of the things that has been an issue when authoring nodes is like getting a node where, there's just a lot of parameter data on it. Like even the wave player has almost too much stuff going on. Like, let's take a big look at this wave player. Like that's a lot. And some of this stuff, some of this input, these inputs aren't traditionally dynamic. Like maybe there's data that you just set and forget, And so you could really simplify the graph look and the user experience of the graph by using these this node configuration. And likewise, look at all this. These 8 channels of audio is kind of unnecessary, right? So if we just had a single wave player that just output a channel agnostic output, and you could configure the format in your details panel, that'd be great. So yeah, I think that's even though it's not even though it's been a little while, I'm gonna put this up again. Steven can hear it. This is the future calling. Yeah, so there's that. And there's one more thing I want to look at. That I think is, let's call, a portent of what's to come, but doesn't really have, like, there's nothing really you can do with it right now. But and so I'm not sure what. There's a plugin out in the preview one. I don't know if it'll make it to the actual version, but why not? Whatever. But it's a new plugin. Go to plugin, audio, and then you can see there's a plugin called the Music Environment plugin. And this is this is an initiative to bring solidarity across a project experience with music. So one of the things that you see at scale are, you have in a single experience, there could be many music producers and many music information receivers. Right? So in other words, you could have like the like background soundtrack, you know, you could have like a live concert, you know, you could have emotes and stuff like that. So you can imagine a world where there's visualizations, there's, you know, people that dance to stuff, and you know, this kind of stuff you can imagine scaling that up. And so the music environment system, or the music environment sort of ecosystem, maybe is a better way to put it, is an attempt to manage that space, and to have at any given time a very clear authority for music clock information. So in the past, people have built subsystems, custom subsystems around things like Quartz to do some of this work. But Quartz, you know, is a very specific thing that it handles, and a lot of the other stuff is more of a byproduct of the way that it's built. Quartz is primarily a music scheduler, and everything else is sort of like a byproduct of the feature. And so it's not really something that handles this at scale. The other thing is that obviously music data is more complicated than just a single ticking metronome. You could have, for example, song information, or music information that is more dynamic, or is part of, you know, like a MIDI file or some sort of pre-recorded sequence of music changes. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. There isn't a whole lot you can do with it right now, but you can get the subsystem. You can check out the code, and you can get the source manager, the clock source manager. Zoom in here. And the clock source manager will basically manages all the clock, all the clocks. So in other words, if you want to utilize this system, everything that has a potential clock source would register its clock source and provide a gameplay tag as the key to that clock source. So in other words, there's two parts to this. There's what I've just described, which is basically a huge like clock pool, like a pool for all of the clock sources. And then it has a global clock authority stack. And by stack, I mean it's something that is a what do they call it? I'm digging into my computer science. It's basically a last in, last out kind of situation. So you can imagine a list and like a stack, and that sort of you push an element in, and then it's at the bottom, and you push another one in, and it sits on top of that stack. And then when you pop the stack, it'll release the top element. That's the last one in, and it'll keep doing that one down. So this, in other words, you could imagine, let's say you've got your sort of game score, boop, as like the global authority, and then someone plays an emote nearby or something like that. And then that momentarily becomes the global authority, and then is popped off the stack when it's done, and there you go. And then you sort of resume your music clock authority with like the soundtrack background music or whatever it was beforehand. So at least that's what I understand this to be. So if we look at the clock, it's actually a new interface called the Music Environment Clock Source, and if you will see the harmonics music clock will actually implement that. So that's right now. That's like the only clock source we really have right now, at least to my knowledge. And so. Oh yeah, and then there's the, I haven't actually looked at the metronomes, but it's another interface. Right, target is this subsystem, there you go. And so, let's see, my metronome. And we can sort of see metronome. I started poking around at these interfaces. There aren't any U functions on them, so I imagine what's going to happen. Either that hasn't been built out yet, or we'll see like native classes that implement those interfaces and then have like blueprint counterparts or something like that. That's sort of my expectation. So there isn't really anything to do with these interfaces yet. Let me do a find clock. So what's cool about the tag approach is you could have, as I said before, you could have like all of your music clock sources register with their tag, and then you could have like, you could imagine having like a manager, like a some sort of gameplay associated manager that finds tags or finds clocks by specific tag changes. Maybe something happens. Maybe stuff is pushed up to, this, maybe some manager object, you can imagine, and then it finds those clocks and then makes them authorities, push something like that, where it's like, boop, like that. It's interesting, and I think this is going to be really compelling in the future. But this is just like the toehold of this feature, whatever whatever it's gonna be. Yeah. Yeah, Steven. Rip graphs from hell. It did. They did. The graphs do make it look like you've got, Data's brain laid out on a table somewhere. Yeah. So those are the things that I didn't think there's anything else. Oh, there's one more thing that I wanted to show. And I have not spent, I will say this, I have not spent time with this feature, but it is new and you should check it out. There is now a new, way to make subtitles. Way to do subtitles. It's actually really smart. But yeah, it's basically one of those things that's been frustrating people for a long time. Actually, I'm looking for it in the thing. I think it has to be created from a source. Let me see if is it a dialogue wave that's created from it? I think maybe it's sound wave. Oh, maybe I didn't. Did I? Oh, maybe I haven't enabled the plugin. Subtitles. Yeah, okay. I did do it. Oh, maybe it's just like in miscellaneous. This is what I mean by I have not spent any time with this feature.
Use the search.
That's really smart. He says, as he just... Okay, fine. Oh, it has its own category. There. Okay. Well, you know what? That's for the better. It should not be in audio. That's for damn sure.
True.
So here's an example of my subtitle, right? So here's a subtitle. Here's some text. Hello, world. What ya doing? And that will last for 10 seconds. And so, oh yeah, and this is also kind of cool. I thought it was kind of cool. Because, I don't know if you remember, but we used to have this thing where it was mature language nodes and all this sort of stuff we're trying to filter out. But this one has literally just an ESRB rating. So you can just be like, yeah, you're like, hey, this is T for T language here. And I assume this is going to be very useful for either determining a rating for an experience, or maybe filtering based off of some user setting or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting. And then you have subtitle, closed caption, and this is cool, is audio description. So for folks who are hearing impaired, you can have a nice additional description of the audio experience, mysterious music plays or something like that, So, and then what's cool is, let me just actually create a quick blueprint to play it.
Beautiful crickets and ambience.
Yeah.
Wind through the trees.
Oh, that's a good idea. I should do that. Oh, that's, yeah. I like it. Audio description. Yeah, let's see. I've only tried to I don't know if that has a special setting or something like that.
Yeah,
we'll see.
This is all new to me.
It's all new. Yeah, okay. But what's cool is it's got its own API, which is smart, right? That's what we want. because here's so for context for people who are like like what does this matter? Someone naively like hard associated subtitles with sound wave files. So in order for a subtitle to play, a sound wave had to play, and that was a terrible idea because there are lots of reasons why a sound wave might not play, but you still want to see the text of what someone says.
Yeah.
So, and it's just one of those weird points of contention. Just had a conversation actually recently with some folks on a Discord server about the audio department owning narrative technology. And I'm very against it. I think that narrative should have its own department. I think it needs respect. And I'm not just saying this as someone with a creative writing major, but narrative needs its own tools and technology, and it's kind of naive to think that narrative is audio. It's not, right? But
Right.
audio plays a part, just like game design needs to play a part in developing narrative systems. And other engines, state, and game state, all that sort
Like
of stuff.
subtitles themselves are visual elements. It's more of a almost borderline UI sort of thing, right? So,
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's good. This is a good thing that you bring up because subtitles also get conflated with dialogue displays, right? So
mm.
yeah. So anyway, my subtitle. All right, we've got. What is this asset type called? Subtitle.
Hover it on your content browser there. Maybe it'll. Huh?
Subtitle asset user data. Okay.
Oh, interesting.
It needs like a good icon. Like,
I mean,
there we go. So we got a reference to our subtitle. Oh, it's a. Oh, interesting. This suggests it's a
it
instance?
attaches to another asset.
This is an instance
hmm
of, but interesting. Okay. What was the other one? Text block.
Oh, UI widget, probably.
What? Sorry?
It's probably a UI widget.
Think so? This guy?
No, I think that the text
Oh.
block is a UI widget.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay. Well,
So
let's
this suggests that it's asset user data for like a particular asset. Maybe this is how they're pairing subtitles with a particular sound wave or dialogue wave. I don't know what they're using, but just in the larger context of the editor, that's what asset user data is typically for. It like kind of latches on to existing assets.
right. Well, it has there's a function called there it is. There's a function called QSubtitle, and that has a reference, object reference. So it's interesting. This is like an object. This is what it was before. This is like a instanced object.
And for that, it might just be a nice, convenient way of pairing data to a sound, whereas this
I see what
would
you're
let you
saying, yeah.
access it and then play it separately.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm curious if what it would give you if you promoted that to a variable off the node there.
Yeah.
So
It looks like the same thing.
but it's no longer Did it
Oh,
copy?
it fed it in.
Okay.
Nice. It did.
So
Very
not how do you do it in
interesting.
reverse?
What's I've this flag I'm not familiar with. What is this flag? Do you know?
What's a localization? Uh,
Oh,
it's
that makes sense.
all
Yeah,
text.
cool. That's cool. I don't remember that happening. Maybe I just haven't made text my interesting. Okay. Anyway, here we go. We can queue subtitles if we want to, and then we'll just drop it into the project and just see what happens. Yeah, there we go.
Is 10 seconds on it, or?
Yeah, it's at 10 seconds. Yeah.
And so I assume then that you can go in and make a custom widget so that
Right.
it's solid white with like a black border sort of thing, or
Yeah, exactly. Or like exactly the black border or
whatever
just
looks
like the
good for
old
your.
school yellow text that's just like no one ever wants to see that sort of radiation yellow text.
So that's cool.
Or the worst, I always think the worst is like when it has literally the black or like the gray box or the
Oh
slightly
yeah,
transparent black box behind it. But yeah, so yeah, I thought that was something that is good little thing to point out. That subtitles are there's going to be a new way to do subtitles. So yeah, I mean not super flashy, but is definitely something that has been and this is actually something that we don't talk about enough. But like accessibility features in general, and having those be first class features as part of the engine, I
for
think is
sure.
really important. So anyway, that's what I've got to show. Eric, did you have something that you wanted to show?
Yeah, let's show our faces for a sec,
Okay.
just to
Yeah.
talk. So I
Yeah.
sent you. Well, so while you were
Oh. Okay.
yeah, while you were doing like your 5.6 overview, I was
Mm-hmm.
fixing up our old. At this point, it's old. It's a few weeks old now. Our sound generator
Mm.
widget. I had to go in and fix up all the widget blueprints that were broken from the upgrade, but it's working now. And the audition, I didn't even have to do
Cool.
anything. It plays now when you push the button.
Nice.
You could just hit random audition, random audition. Oh, I want to. I'll let you download that, and you can run through a demo. And while you're setting that up, I could talk about my contribution to 5.6.
Oh yeah. You want to share screen?
Sure. Yeah, so 5.6, there's a new plugin called Tech Audio Tools, and you have to enable it, but I've already done so here. And it's pretty small. There's actually no tools in it yet. This is kind of the foothold that will hopefully grow over time. But what it does have right now are Metasound view models. And a few weeks ago, those of you who watched the stream might recall that we did some work with view models for our sound generator. And each of our parameter widgets had a parameter view model. And that's just like our intermediate layer between the widget and the metasound. And so similarly, the metasound view model actually will do a lot of work behind the scenes to help bind data from the metasound to a widget. And I'm just going to do a quick demo here. And feel free to stop me if I go too far, Dan, but I'm going to do a just metasound editor. And yeah, I guess I don't want to get ahead of myself. So once you've enabled Tech Audio Tools, you also need to have the UMG View Model plugin enabled, which I did last time when we were here, but that is this one. You don't need the preview one, but just the UMG View Model. And then you'll have these windows here, View Models and View Bindings. And if those aren't in your window, you can access them from the window menu here. And so I'm just going to load up, and you can see we've got our parameter and sound gen from last time, but the new ones are the Metasound view model. Inputs and outputs have their own as well. And if I open up these arrows, we've got editor versions of each of these as well. And so the non-editor versions don't let you do everything that you can do in the editor because editor has more access to things like the descriptions, the display names, and like all the editor metadata and things that are used in the Metasound for organization and stuff. We can access that through the view model. And so for the non-editor version, this lets you make widgets that are runtime widgets. So like if you want your game to use widgets that are interacting with Metasounds, you can do some of that here. And then the editor is obviously editor only. Similar for the inputs and outputs. There's only so much that you can do runtime, but then editor gets you like the description, display names, and sort order indexes and stuff like that. And this will hopefully expand over time. There's it's still an experimental plugin, and we're planning to work on it some more. But I'm going to show you how you can use this to create a Metasound preset editor widget. And what I mean by that is if I go over, I'm going to use Dan's Mega Sound here as the example.
Nice.
Dan's got this really lovely, organized set of knobs to fiddle with, and this looks a lot better than what the end result of this quick tutorial is going to be. But there's a lot of room for creativity, and we can make our Metasounds have like a VST-like experience with a user interface and knobs and reactive components to it and stuff. And so when I make a preset of this, and can I do it from just up here? I'll do it from the content browser. I'll create a preset, and there won't be anything here yet, but we'll come back to it. Right now we have like all these wires and nodes that we can't move, we can't interact with. If we want to edit any of these inputs, we have to go and find it in this list and then override it, and then now we can like change the value here. That's not the experience that we want our sound designers to use, to have to deal with. And so the widget that we're going to make is going to populate in this tab right next to the graph. There'll be a preset widget tab, and that's where we can do our own fancy set of knobs and sliders and reactive elements and stuff. Am I good on time, Dan?
Yeah, good. You're fine. Yeah. I mean, we're you're zipping. Yeah. We got lots of time.
Okay. So I just made a brand new editor utility widget. And so the first thing that I always do whenever I'm using view models with editor utility widgets, you have to go into the class settings here, and there's a magic checkbox called can call initialized without player context. And if you don't check this box, you're going to, have you're going to wonder why your widget's not working when it should be. So I always check that box right away. And yeah, I'll also just configure my workspace here so I can make a layout. And to start with, I'm just going to add a vertical box. And then, let's see. So this is going to live. First, I'm going to make. Let's back up a bit. Let me check my notes here. I forgot to add the interface. And so while we're back over here in the class settings and checking this box, that's really important. There's an interface that we can add here called the Metasound Preset Widget Interface.
This is part of your plugin.
No, this is actually not part of my plugin, but my plugin, it works very nicely with
is this the stuff that Helen's been working on?
That's right, yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so when you add that interface, you get these interface functions that are added. And the main one here is the yellow one that's highlighted. And this is going to provide us a builder. And this builder is going to be...
Can you zoom in a little bit? I think it's yeah. There you go. That's nice. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, so this builder is going to correspond to the Metasound that we're connected to. And we can choose which Metasound this widget is compatible with by overriding the get supported Metasounds function. And so all we have to do is return the included Metasounds or all presets or however however you need to. I thought there was a tooltip here that, oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and do all presets since we only have the one meta sound. I'm not. Otherwise, you could do like make an array here and then just add all of the parent meta sounds that you want to use this with. So I'll just do that instead, actually. So now I just set Dan's meta sound, the parent. We don't want to do it to the preset. So this is the main meta sound source, not the preset. And then that should give us a tab. If I come back over here and close out of it and reopen, let me find it. This one. Now we have our tab. It says preset widget and is blank because we haven't done anything yet. But so this is kind of our, this will be like our main widget window, and we want to populate it with a bunch of smaller widgets. And so I'm going to make another editor utility widget, and this time it's going to be like a knob. And so we'll just call it knob. And same thing here. It's kind of muscle memory at this point. And let's see. Yes, I can do all that. Come back over here. And I'm just going to do a vertical box again. And then I'm going to plop one of the audio material knob. And this is our relatively new, fancy-looking material knob. And we're going to use this to bind to our float inputs. Let me just add a few more widgets here, just to a knob by itself. We want to label it, so we can see what the name of it is, and probably want to get.
Let there be mystery,
I mean, that would be fun, right? So I'm just going to make it look a little nicer here.
So yeah, for folks at home, if you wanted to, you could skin this with whatever art, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, you can design it however you like. So the top one, I'm going to just change this to input name, and then the bottom one is going to be the value. And so there's our widget for now. Let me check my notes. This is where we're going to add our another view model. This time we're going to use the Metasound Input Editor view model. Since it's an editor utility widget, we have access to like the display name, the input name. Dan, did you put display name?
Is this the one? This is the one that's on your plugin, right?
Yes, the view models are on my plugin. The interface for getting the builder onto the the widget graph is yep.
That's just in the engine.
Yep, that's
or
just in,
or Metasound's plugin or something like that.
Yeah, it's probably in the Metasound plugin somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm getting lost. Yes, so yeah, this is where we'll be getting our builder and using that to activate our view models. Okay, so now we've got our view model added here. The view model instance, I probably explained it last time that we talked about view models, but this we're going to leave as manual because we're going to be provided it from our main widget. And so now I can just go ahead and start binding stuff. So our text, I'm going to bind the text to the name of the Metasound input. And we're not going to use the display name because Dan didn't do any of them. But, and then this one, we're going to set the text to be the float. And we're going to map the float to this. We're going to map it to the literal, actually. So I think I have a
actually. I think this is something that's the display name is a property for a parameter inside the Metasound graph. Yeah, just so people know, like that's just not a part that I'm used to editing. That's all.
Right. Yeah. It's just it's the user friendly.
Yeah.
That you can change without disrupting your game logic and stuff.
Well, it's yeah. I think that's really good because I actually like to have. I didn't do it this time around, but I actually prefer I have like a naming scheme for um my metasound parameter data that I didn't use this time, but I actually do.
I mean, I
And
like
so
how
it's
yours are all kind of like grouped alphabetically, which is really nice.
yeah, yeah, that's part of. But usually, what I do is I usually have a prefix that is the parameter type.
Right. Okay.
So, so then they get organized by type, which is nice. But anyway, yeah. So that's nice that there's a display name that can kind of obfuscate a more technical name inside the graph.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
For displaying the value here, since we're getting a literal from the view model, um, I don't have conversion functions for 5.6 that will turn this into a float. But what we can do is just get the literal value as text. And so this is less useful, but it's more like a debugging convenience here. And that will update our text there. For the knob, we're actually going to need to make a couple functions in the blueprint here. Let me get my notes.
For conversion?
For changing the knob value back into a literal, right?
Oh, I see. To the other direction, basically.
Yep. Well, both directions. So the first function I'm going to create, if I find my notes, a lot of notes, and I'm working on documentation that's going to be posted on the Epic developer community. So
You know what would be cool is like a Dev Hub tutorial or something like that.
yeah, I mean that's kind of what the document is, but I could do like a video. You mean?
Well, I guess the if we do like a quick start or something like that, that'll work. But it's
Yeah.
just sometimes it's nice to have like a hello world, tutorial.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, so actually I'm in the wrong function. I'm going to do set knob first, and this will be our literal coming from the meta sound. So we want to turn this into a float using get float value from literal.
Can you just zoom in a little bit?
Yeah, sorry. Got this ultra wide monitor, so it's. And so then we can get our knob here, and there's a function here that we can set value. And that's the right one.
I see.
And we'll just plug it in like that. So there's our first function. In order to bind it to our view model, though, we have to set it as const, pure, and actually this isn't the one that we're binding to. So we're good. It's the other one, our get function.
Right.
So this one we're going to return a literal because we're going to turn the knob float back into a literal to pass back into the meta sound. And so this one we need to be const, pure, and field notify.
The field notifies the magic, right?
Yep, it's the little bell icon up here, this one.
Yeah. Okay.
And so we're going to go the opposite way and create a float literal. And we're just going to pass it back the other way. And this is where you would probably want to do like any range mapping. All of our inputs for the meta sound that Dan made are normalized 0 to 1.
Yeah.
So that's really nice because these widgets only go from 0 to 1. And if you wanted this to be like 20 to 20,000 or something, you'd have to map that range to 0 to 1, which is out of the scope of this demo. But yeah.
That's actually I think it's worth mentioning or acknowledging that that's a philosophy, like to have your whatever you think of as like the sort of interface barrier, the sort of whatever that like that threshold is between someone else's data and your data. I really like to have normalized values. I think that's I think it makes it very easy for people to work with you, with your system, because they know, okay, it's always going to be a 0 to 1 value, or maybe it's a bipolar value, but usually it's 0 1 value
Yeah.
that they're going to give you, and you know that you're going to get a 0 to 1 value, and it's something it's a very like nice assumption to sort of establish, and then everyone else can sort of do whatever they need to do. The mapping can be done internally. Yeah, I really like that. Especially since ranges can get so specific. Like this data, like we're doing knobs and stuff like that, but like this input data could be coming from the game or something like that. You know, it could be coming from like the velocity of some object. You know, and then what is the appropriate 0 to 1 range for that object? What is, you know, and that's something that has to have a specific understanding of that object, maybe even that object subtype. You know, like if it's a vehicle, there are different vehicles with different ranges, right? And if you want to reuse, if you want to have like handle things at scale, if you want to reuse your like models of your like audio models, you know, so let's say you've got like a meta sound that's like your vehicle meta sound, but you're swapping out, you know, wave assets and all this sort of stuff for different instances. You know that you're getting a curated range value coming in because that has been handled by the game designer, that's handled by the tech audio designer, maybe, on that side of things, and everything else inside the meta sound. You know what you're getting, and you know what you have to map it to.
There is something to be said, though, about giving power to the users to configure their own experience, you know, and
You mean like the configuration ends up in two places?
it might.
Because you have probably a mapping function before you go in, because you have to normalize the parameter data going into the meta sound, and then you have a mapping function to
Yeah.
use that normalized data. But that's what I'm saying is like I feel like that method allows the people for whom those values are mostly concerned to determine those values. But I think it's a good debate to have.
Yeah, for sure. So right now I am just the proper way to do this would be to grab all the inputs from Dan's Metasound because he's got a lot of them, and I don't want to make each of these widgets individually. So I'm going to go ahead and not do it. I'm going off my script now, so I'm going to.
I think there was just a handful of non-float values, right? Like a couple of integers.
Let's see.
Or
Yeah,
did I end up mapping them anyway?
let's see. There's like number of jumps and stuff, but we'll just ignore that. I think that's the only one though, right? Like these are all time.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one.
So I ended up mapping the time values to normalize input. Because originally those were like time, like those were seconds or whatever.
So what I'm going to do is after we initialize the view model using the builder from this interface, that's going to then kind of activate all of these fields that are available. And one of those is going to be our input view models. And so for each input in the Metasound, we're creating an input view model. And then on the blueprint side, I'm going to get those and I'm going to create knob widgets for each one of them. So yeah, I'm just gonna work on that. I don't know, Dan, if you wanted to go back and talk about or like show off the.
Well, I have one more thing to say about.
Yeah, go for it.
About it's something that maybe is not obvious because the work hasn't been done yet, but it's definitely on the roadmap, and that is distinguishing between input that is meant for like dynamic gameplay on the instance versus input that is meant for configuration data by like a preset design, right? So in other words, like the kind of stuff that you're working on right now, it would be like inputs that are specific to designing, like configuring the meta sound, as almost like a preset, right? Some sort of data model for like the meta sound, as a like a template object that then gets instantiated during runtime. And during runtime, there are inputs that are sort of reserved for gameplay data. That could be, your velocity or your altitude or, your music state or whatever. And so I think that's not very like well defined. Distinguishing those types of inputs aren't really well defined right now. And I think that there is a future where those are defined. And I think that would help sort of define where we want normalized data and where we want explicit data, right? Like, for example, the person who is interfacing gameplay data, the instantiated runtime dynamic gameplay input, that I think should be normalized because the mapping is something that is it can get really messy if you're just getting all kinds of input. So that I think there's utility for normalizing that, but for the explicit for the explicit configuration for the explicit configuration of do you want me to go talking heads while you reload?
It's fine. I mean, you can do whatever.
Okay, whatever. I did whatever.
It's your stream.
For the the preset data or the configuration data that is like influencing the asset, that having that be explicit and not normalized, I think makes a lot of sense. And I think it comes down to who is your audience, right? Like, for example, if you take like a canonical synthesizer and you have all these knobs, if your audience is someone who understands synthesizers, then you want things like, oh, here's your frequency value, cutoff frequency, here's your resonance amount, here's your like mix stuff and how much noise and their noise profiles and all that sort of stuff. All that stuff is something that is useful information to be explicit for the designer. But if your user is a non-audio person, then there might be more usefulness in like abstracting some of that information for that person so that they can kind of like understand the outcome of touching a knob or changing a value. That makes sense, instead of filter cutoff, maybe it's like brightness or something like that, and then maybe you're not giving them frequency values unless your intention is for them to learn. Then obviously you want to give them. Anyway, that's all I'm saying. So, yeah.
I'm currently struggling to figure out why it's not populating my inputs, and it might be. It's easier when I run it inside of an editor utility, and I'm a little bit curious why. Like I can't put a breakpoint here.
Oh, you mean the tab?
Yeah, like it runs it in the tab.
Interface tab? Yeah, I see.
Yeah. So Dan, why don't you demo our generator while I troubleshoot this?
Yeah.
And,
Let's
we'll
take a
come
look.
back.
Unless it crashes.
This should work. Just don't. Yeah.
I just run it, right? There we go.
Yeah, it'll work. Yeah.
No.
You got it.
There we go. That's cool. That's cool sound. Is this the name of the sound? Can I?
Yeah, you can type a name and then it'll save a preset if you export it.
Weird spaceship. Oh, I hit enter. That didn't. No, that's fine. I just need to pin that. That's okay. There we go. Weird spaceship. And it's is it a preset? Yeah, it's a
It's a
preset.
preset,
Preset. That's
and
cool.
pretty soon you'll have a new widget.
Oh, that's so cool.
Now remember, you can randomize individual properties too.
We got a lot of spaceships right now.
It might not audition the next one unless you stop it.
Oh, that's a good point. That's actually kind of cool.
You put that as a bird in your forest.
Yeah, okay, let's see. Robot bird. There we go. Okay. And then we've got our robot bird. And then let me make a... let's swap it out for one of my other birds here. Oh, I'll swap it out with... oh my god, it's been a while since I looked at this. Let's swap it out. Why did I make a... I don't know why I did this. I have a... Squirrel.
Oh dear.
I think this one... Yeah, let me, let's go robot bird for this. Robot bird. Okay. Let's see. And I need to add the, oh yeah, this was that weird bug I think that I have that I... There we go. I actually don't know if that was the... if that one was actually used. Because I have this separate... Let me just make sure this is even referenced inside of the thing. Yeah, okay. Yeah, alright. Cool, 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 cool. Spawning frequency. Okay. Let's, oh, it should be pretty close. You know what I didn't set up is any attenuation. Let's just... give it a bird attenuation. And then we can, this is a good chance to look at our audio insights and see if it's playing or not. All right, sounds tab. Oh, I have the squirrel. Yeah, I think this, I think I need to... yeah, okay. I think this, I think I cleaned this up or something like that, and so the squirrel is probably somewhere in here. Oh, there it is. This is the one that I gotta swap. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, so then... Robo Bird. Okay. And, that should do it, actually. We just gotta wait for it to play, I think. Where's my audio insights go?
Oh, I actually know what the issue was.
There it is.
I heard it, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Fits right in.
I just gotta up the spawn rate. Here we go. We'll just up
You-
the spawn rate to yeah.
Please add a subtitle.
Oh, we didn't. Oh, what if it's subtitle? Oh, I don't know how. Let's see what I've never. Yeah, let's see if it. I have no idea if that's part of the source properties now. Oh no, it was user data, right?
Yeah, you can just
yes.
which I think is exposed to
Oh, is it
Medicine
exposed?
now.
It is exposed.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. What? This is so ridiculous. Okay. Here we go. I guess I'll make it here. Subtitle. ST robot bird. And we'll go
Couldn't you also inline that?
a robot bird. Maybe. I guess so. Oh, you're right.
I mean,
No,
unless you want to clutter up your
You're
browser
right.
with
No, you're right. You're
subtitles.
right. You're right. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, here we go.
It's kind of weird that it is
Subtitle.
like a U asset.
Well, I think the idea is portability, right? Like then, because I would imagine you could. I don't know.
You could store like a data asset that's got like a whole script, and then pass instances as you need them. Maybe, I don't know what the best. Like maybe there is like an intended design for it. But oh, I heard it again.
What's Oh fuck.
Aha.
There we go. I'm gonna save it, and then we'll see if it plays. That'd be really awesome if it does.
I saw it there at the bottom, but
Oh, did it?
yeah, it's right there.
Ah! A robot bird squeaks in the distance mysteriously.
Oh my god.
I hope this has been educational for everyone.
I'm having a good time.
The spawn rate is like longer or is shorter than the length of the audio description.
It's I don't even hear it though, and I'm seeing the subtitles. So.
Yeah. Let me. Oh my goodness. This is good. I'll go back to longer. Yeah. Oh, this is too long. No, let me go that. There we go. And then, you know what I can do? Well, I gave my bird, attenuation. But we could do, oh, I think it's because I have like occlusion on this attenuation setting. Let's see. No, I didn't enable occlusion. Anyway, this has been yeah. Oh, hello. That was surprising.
Wow, I opened the meta sound right when that happened, so I thought it was me. Like
I don't know what happened there.
my widget just freaked out or something.
I think it was the like a utility widget responding to like my escape or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it still running? Maybe it didn't like the. Where's my windows here? Maybe it didn't like my. Did I close them all? I guess I closed them. All right, we're back here. Yeah, so let's see. That's pretty sick. I think we can sort of let's try to tune something here. So we got, let's bring the sustain down, and yeah, these, oh yeah, here we go. This release time is quite long. We'll tighten the times up, and then we'll lock them in. This is locked in, right? If we go like that, yeah, okay, cool. Well, this is sustain level, or is this sustain time? I think it's just, I don't remember actually.
If you put descriptions on it, we can add tooltip.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
I'm serious. It's a,
Pitch jump. Like that.
that's
Oh, duration.
the
That was the
number of
duration.
jumps is the one that's the int.
There we go. Tighten up that duration. Boom. There we go. Number of jumps is the int. Yeah. So we've got a mapping here.
What are you making now?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just messing around with stuff. All I'm doing is I'm like, you know, just doing stuff.
When you're done with that one, you should make like an ambient bed or something, like a really long one.
I think the longest it goes is like 10 seconds. I think.
You can pitch it down more or something. You can make like a haunted forest.
Okay, if we go really long duration and really long release, I think, and then we could have a smooth decay and the sustain. That. And then we'll lock those in. Let's reduce
Spaceship.
LFO depth. Now we're talking. Okay, so we'll lock the LFO and we'll just pull back this amplitude LFO. Yeah, okay, I like that. And then is that the delay? Oh, we've got a super long delay time. So let's tighten that up and see if we can get an interesting timbre with a really tight delay time. And this, actually, we could probably, slowing this down, we could probably bring this back up a little bit. Just a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. Burp. The hard part about doing random normalized ranges is that almost everything is activated to a certain degree.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I liked about the Soundwharf's like Galactic Assistant. I think it was called Galactic Assistant, because you could do like, they had like groupings of parameter groupings where you could be like, oh, just lock this whole group, or just randomize this group. You know, I think that's kind of a good design there. Yeah, I want to get rid of this bit crusher amount. And the sample rate. We'll just lock those in. And bring this down. Oh, we got a question. Felipe Gomez asks, does export make a new copy of the meta sound? And Steven says, it makes a meta sound preset. Yep, Steven's been paying attention. That is correct, Felipe. The basically it's using a reference to the my prototype meta sound source, so the parent, basically a parent meta sound, and then it's generating presets.
You can open the widget.
You mean this widget?
Nope, the sound generator.
Oh, you mean the
widget.
yeah, that's right.
So show the blueprint.
Yeah, that's what you were gonna do.
I mean, you can do it. I gotta be right back. One second.
Okay. It's just us now, so we can talk freely. What's the deal with game audio? Okay, so I think what the idea was here, yeah, so if we look at this, here's the Metasound reference we have. Okay. Okay, so here's our, we've got the editor subsystem, we've got our audio component. This is the audition. So this is the audition function call. This is what we were trying to get working last time, and we were running into trouble. And you can see here. Boop. And then we've got the preset builder. So if we look at the export button, which is called editor utility button _1. That's a terrible name. I'll talk about names. Oh, yeah, here we go. Here we go. You're talking about display names, and I am also talking. See, here's the thing, Eric. Look at this. This name, editor utility button _1.
Hey. I said that I cursed myself for the same reason when I opened this back up and the whole blueprint was not compilable. And I had to figure out what is editor utility button 180. What does that even do? So I'm with you. Yeah. I will always vouch for giving things good names, even if you think it's not important.
Yeah. Okay, Felipe. Here we go. Here's the export preset button, and we've got a reference to the source class. That's the meta sound that the prototype or whatever we made, and then this is get. So this is the parameter. Oh, this is a pure. This is your. Okay, here's your function. Okay. Oh, this is not good. Oh, that's right. You just got to get. I was like, oh.
I hate running wires everywhere. I'm not.
No, you know what's funny is that I was there when they added the get for this, because you used to not be able to do that at all.
I remember that,
yeah. When I was your age. So yeah, we've got the source preset builder, and then you're getting the builder name, which is great. So you're getting a reference from the builder subsystem for the builder name. Oh no, this is you're
I'm
creating
just
one.
making one. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And then, well, I think this function retrieves if it already exists the same name.
You have to register it though, don't you?
Maybe, yeah.
I didn't bother registering
Yeah.
it, so.
As long as, but you have, is this a local parameter? Is it a local variable?
That is, yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right. All right, anyway, so then you loop through the parameters. Bum, 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 bum. You're creating a literal on the preset. Wait, no, this is filling the data.
It's transferring the default value of
Yeah, this
from
is
the
input
knob
literal.
to, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so this is little builder code. And in the builder, when you have like an input on like a node or something like that, and it has a defined, like an explicit value, and it's not just like a pin input, that's a literal. And so, yeah, you're creating float literals for all of the inputs. Is this this might fail on the integer one?
It will, for sure, because, yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, we could make a quick exception. We could just be like check parameter name and then make a.
Yeah, I was thinking about
branch or
doing that
whatever.
over here for the other widget that I'm making.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
eh,
But
for the sake of
basically,
time.
yeah, because it's only one parameter, so it's kind of easy to make an exception.
But it's also
but-
like all that work for one, you know?
Well, so there's another way to do this, and that is you can. Actually, I don't know if it's. Hold on a second. Let's see. Metasound builder subsystem. Create literal. Yeah. So this one, create literal from an audio parameter. I think. Yeah. So, I believe. I feel like there's one. So it could be that because I'm used to the builder code that's in C++, and so I'm thinking of functions in my brain that may not have blueprint equivalents. But there is a function in C++ where you just pass it. You create a literal based off of an input value. And it's with the the name, the literal type name.
Let me see if I can. I think I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? And so in that way you could have, because what you can do is you can find a graph input by name and get its type and then create a literal and set the value on that only by name, without knowing anything else about it.
Yeah, you can. You would get graph input data from the builder.
Okay, it's from the builder.
From the source builder, yeah.
Do we have that? Do we have that crashed here?
Yeah, there's one on the graph there. A couple of them. It's a local.
Oh. What? Oh.
Just sitting there on the graph.
What? Oh, okay, there you go.
They're just sitting there.
Yeah, but it's okay. Okay, what is it? What is it?
Get graph input data.
Yeah. Ah, yeah.
It
Right.
changed it. Well, try get input data because I might have the name wrong or something. I know it's got the word data in it because it gives you the name and the data type.
Get node input data.
Yes.
But well, no, this is not the node. This is graph.
Oh yeah, you're right. I had a tricky way of doing, or a hacky way of doing it, where I would.
No, but you can get graph input names, and then you could do name matching. Let's see. Find input by name. Oh, that's node input. Find graph. Oh yeah, here we go. So find graph input node is by name, and it gives you the data type name. And so then we want that's not what we want. Is the audio parameter? This. We'll go like this. Set the graph input default. Well, we could do compare, which I don't like, but I know the type name, so we could do a branch like this. Actually, is it yeah, I think it's just float. So then there's a create. Yeah, the float to audio parameter. We could do like a yeah, I guess it'd be like that. And then the name would be this. And the literal the value would be this. Okay, I'm gonna take a risk here. I actually don't like this graph, but Whatever. Let's see if this works. And then just gonna do another one. I'm messing up your graph, by the way. So
Oh, it's fine. I'm not watching.
it's probably for the best.
I, I'm I'm making some widgets over here, so y'all are gonna love this. Not sure. Ah, right.
Yeah, I could be breaking everything.
Got version control, right? That's a no.
That's a no. All right, let's see. Compile? Thinks about compiling. That's a spicy compile. Well,
You don't have the widget open, do you?
yes.
Ah,
Is that one of the rules? Is that one of the Xbox rules?
yeah, that's the nasty one.
Okay.
I'm still trying to get them to look at that one. But yeah, if you have an editor utility widget that is using a view model, close it before you recompile it,
Yeah.
or boom, every time 100% repro rate.
Well, that's good. 100% repro rate is good because that means it's fixable.
Yeah.
It's always the hard to repro bugs that are hard to fix. Well,
So we're
we only got 10
working.
minutes left here.
We're working over here. If you want to
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
pass
hold on.
the baton. So I kind of forget how much where I left off before passing it over to Dan. But this is now the widget that's going to show up in the inside of the Metasound preset. I gave it a title, and then this is where we're going to populate all of our knob widgets. And the thing that I was doing wrong was I forgot that this interface provides the builder before we construct the widget. And so you just need to cache it, and then on construct, it'll be available to initialize. And then all I'm doing is grabbing all the inputs and making a knob for each input in the Metasound and passing the view model into the knob. And then adding it to the wrap box that I have, collecting all of the knobs. And this is just some visual flair that I gave the knobs. I made it look a little nicer.
Oh, nice.
It's lazy, but it'll work. And so now in here we've got.
That's cool.
I gave them. They've all got two-tone color knobs, and like there's hover elements and stuff that I'm doing on tick, which I don't recommend, but
It's fun times.
this is what that looks like. So on hovered, I'm just changing brightening the text if it's hovered and dimming it if it's not, and then
That's cool.
I was trying to do some material color changes when you hover over it, but didn't get that working in time. Here's where I'm just randomly picking two colors and setting some of the material knob colors here. And of course, you can customize those however you like, but I figured it'd be cooler just to spit out some random color.
Yeah.
And y'all can't hear it, but let's see. And I probably should also filter out the triggers. So we have a knob that's float controlling an input trigger. So probably would want to check the type before making. Like here, I could just go like get.
I believe under the hood, a trigger is just a bool.
Yeah, we'd want to only do it if it's a float, and so
Right.
we would just do this. If this is equal to float,
Is
then
it capitalized? I always forget that.
let's find out. Let me close it before I recompile. And there, now it's not there.
Yeah. So you capitalized it, right? Capitalized float?
I'm.
not?
Let's figure this out. I did capitalize it, and now I'm going to lowercase it. I'm guessing it's not case sensitive. Yeah, it's not.
All right, cool.
So like, if I wanted,
yeah. Equal F name is not a string comparison. F name is a GUID under the hood.
yeah,
So of capitalized or not, it should be different GUIDs. But I'm just saying.
they might map to the same. Oh, anyway.
Yeah. Well, so it's the name, the data type in the Metasound builder uses a function called like get Metasound name or something like type name or something like that. And so, and then you feed it the type, and then it returns a name for that type. That's how I do everything. And so I just give it actual like the actual type, because it's a templated function that returns an actual name. But that's cool if it works with both capital or not. I was wondering if integer would be int 32 or int. But,
yeah, I think it's int 32.
yeah.
Could be wrong. Anyway, so we lost the nice alphabetical order here in the shuffle of generating the view models.
Right.
This is probably the order that you put them on the graph or something.
But you could filter that in your like widget.
I could do like sort, like I could sort this array somehow,
Yeah.
or do whatever. But so I just have the frequency here, and now if I edit the frequency, oh, I'm not binding. So there's something I forgot to hook up here, but
Did you forget to click that flag, the field notified flag?
you know what? I mean, maybe
That would be really funny.
I hope I did. I did not. Okay, well, bummer. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's trace this down here. So I am manually setting the view model. Where am I setting that?
This is the data flow. This is the signal flow for the view model, right? This is what we're looking at.
Yeah, and so I think I was counting on this to set the view model, and I don't know if that's necessarily the case, or I don't know. This is what happens when I go off the script. I can probably just do call set view model on here, and we have a public setter, and we'll see if this works. It might do the same thing as that. I don't know. This was auto generated, like the expose on spawn.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But we'll try it out here and see. And then if I get frequency and then move the knob, let's see if it goes the other way. So yeah, so it's going the other way. And so I got one way.
Interesting, yeah.
And so it's probably just a binding mishap where, let's see. So we're setting the knob value from the view model, and then we are getting the knob value as literal and sending that back to the view model. So that should be working. Maybe, let me check the functions. Set knob value, that one's working. Get knob value. Let me just put that there and see.
Oh,
Okay.
Something get called.
So, why? So we've got field notifies enabled. It's a pure function, const. Get knob. Oh, actually so yeah, I remember now. Moving the knob doesn't push the field notify, and so we have to manually push the notify.
Oh, interesting. Okay, and that's specific to this implementation.
Specific to the widget.
Yeah.
Like you could make a wrapper widget and kind of have it automatically do it.
Right.
But I'm just gonna add an event here. So when we change the knob, I'm going to there's a function called field notify broadcast field notify. There's 2 of these, and this one will work. And so you call this, and so I want to broadcast get knob value as literal. I'm going to close it and then recompile. I've got muscle memory down. So
Yeah.
now fingers crossed that that we've got both ways now. There we go.
Yay! There we go.
And to make it bigger, let's just go ahead and.
Oh yeah, nice. Now we're
It's
talking.
better for folk at home. You can see we got 2-way bindings from.
Yep.
So yeah,
That's really cool.
I suppose you can't hear that, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
working. This is
That's really cool. This is the future. Yeah, this is
yeah.
what.
And so
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to like kind of explain like what the view model's role in all of this is.
Yeah.
Because basically, there's some new stuff that allows you to, in the builder here, you could do like, I don't even know what it's called, like in the blueprint side, but there's like a whole set of bindings that you can do to bind to changes in these parameters over here, like the default values and like the display name and stuff or like input name and stuff. What the view model does is it will bind all of that behind the scenes for you and just bubble up that data in a way that you can access it from your widgets. So it removes a lot of the blueprint boilerplate code and stuff. As you can see, my graphs fairly minimal. Like this is, just iterating over an array and making a bunch of widgets. You don't have to do that. You could do it however you want.
Well, one of the things with your iteration approach, you're like you have to have like an abstract, which is like the grid and the sort of arrangement of like knobs on a grid. But
Sure.
I feel like if you wanted to, you could probably curate like a layout that's really slick and grouped logically, or like mimics your like synthesizer layout or whatever.
This is very much like an auto-generated like
Yeah.
mass input way, which is probably something that you'd want to have like so you don't have to design a widget for every single meta sound. But for certain presets that you're using every day, or just you want it to look nicer because you're using it all the time, you can go ahead and make a custom widget like this one, but rather than populating it with everything, make it look nice like a VST, give it some wood paneling, maybe throw in some visualizers and stuff. Like
That'd be sick.
one thing that we could do, like I could add a randomize button here and then have a random button under each of these buttons as well. So like we could rebuild the whole thing.
Oh yeah, right. I see what you're
In the
saying. Yeah.
preset. It kind of defeats the point of having this be in the preset already, because
Yeah.
it is but
Well, the editor utility is cool because it's a utility. It's not a preset. And so if you're not editing a preset, you've got a utility for generating presets, which is a very different proposition, and I think is really cool on its own. But I think that this is a lot of fun. The idea that what I like about the view model, setup, is that because the binding is reduced to like as little functions, graph setup as you can get away with, you can spend all your time on the look.
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can completely swap out the look of the widget as well. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of the whole purpose
Yeah.
of the view model, is to decouple the logic from the appearance.
Right.
And so you could also look at a view model as like a set of instructions for how a widget should look. Like what's the state that should be presented. And then it's got ways of like communicating back to the model, which in this case is our meta sound.
Right. Going back to the like auto-populated grid or whatever, this could be a situation where like we again return to maybe like a very strict naming scheme that could describe it could like give some metadata to the input parameter that could be parsed as part of your layout. and
Hmm.
then you could be like, oh, this is part of the filter control, and so this has to go in this populates maybe the filter box or whatever, and then you have maybe an opportunity to sort of still have the flexibility of auto populating a layout, but have more organization in the layout itself.
Yeah.
A little bit more functionality.
Yeah. And I don't want to dive too deep into what I'm working on for the future, but Tech Audio Tools is very, very early in its life. And I think the goal is to deliver on the promise made at GameSoundCon last year, where
Yeah.
we want to release more of our tools and utilities that we're building internally. Um, and yeah, I'm hoping, maybe by GameStop this year we'll be able to share some of that. So
Yeah, I think it's really exciting. I think it's a lot of the things that we looked at, I feel today are really exciting stuff. But it's very like first stages. It's very like we're setting the stage for like what's to come, and yeah, I think that's really cool.
the
I'm
door's
excited about
opening
5.7
wider.
too. Yeah. Well, the other thing that I like about this is sort of an unreal thing in general, but like it could be any system, but any engine. But I like the idea that this stuff is coming out like as early as possible, so that people, because I feel like there's a lot of really cool people in the community who are early adopters, who like check out the new stuff and start jumping on it. And I think I've already seen like Amir has done like he's done like the 1,000 input mixer node or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So you know, it's cool to see even as early as it is, folks kind of taking advantage of the framework that's being established in these sort of different initiatives and vectors.
It's
So,
easier to start learning it while it's being built than it is
oh
to
yeah,
like wait until it's completely like finished, and come in and try to, you don't have to wonder why things ended up the way they did because you were kind of following along from the get go.
yeah.
So yeah, I think it's really cool that we're able to share a lot of this stuff, even though it's not fully fleshed out yet. But we're making good progress now. So
All right. So I think this is a good stopping point. We hit 2 hours. It's kind of perfect, actually. This worked out really nicely.
we did not get to talk about what we want to do next week.
We didn't get to talk about what we want to do next week, but I have a feeling that conversation is going to happen anyway.
Let's do it.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, it's part of me wants to see if we could do something like I'm sort of interested in. Uh, I did those those Metasound nodes over the winter break a while back. And it would be I'm interested in trying out node configuration, see if I could, learn the data flow
Hmm.
on one of those a node like that, one of those nodes. And so I'm kind of interested in trying that out, but it's not something that I think it would probably take too long to learn that on stream. So it could be something that like maybe like a show and tell or something like that. Otherwise, I am kind of interested in poking at the new stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
There was something that was brought up recently, that I was helping someone with, and now I'm like really into the idea. But they the idea was to use PCG to generate soundscape color point data. That's a cool idea, and I'm excited about that. That could be an interesting one. But PCG, I think in general, I think is really interesting. I know very little about it,
Same.
but I think it's super powerful tool. I think it's one of those things that's like that I feel very strongly will be a cross discipline space for design, and yeah, someday it would be cool to do stuff there. I don't know if next week's right for that. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm up for whatever. Like that all sounds cool. Like moving on to some of the 5.6 stuff.
Hmm.
We did kind of leave the state tree stuff hanging a little
That's
bit,
true.
maybe.
That's true.
So if we wanted to do like a kind of offline some stuff and then do like a show and tell sort of thing, I could think of something to share with that. And
I like it. I could definitely. I could follow through on my idea of like a mix system that's state tree driven, and I could have some of the features, some of the new stuff in audio modulation implemented
yeah,
as
yeah.
part of it.
I was thinking like not like a full mix system, but just setting up a very simple like kind of a affiliation mixer. Like let's say that I'm playing a online game. I've got a teammate and I've got enemies, and I want to mix their weapons differently so
Right.
that my teammates' weapons are quieter than the enemy weapons.
Right.
And I think that would be kind of a nice little easy bite-sized state tree experiment that could be useful.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Is that something you're interested in trying out?
yeah, I would like to do that. It wouldn't
Because we
be
could
like,
use you could use Project Lyra as like a
yeah,
solid team multiplayer base
yep,
project to build on. And there's enough stuff going on there audio wise that you could actually hear, hear a mix change, do something.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I had in mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I could try. Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. So I like the idea. Some kind of state tree show and tell, and something maybe to do with um, new stuff. No
Uh,
promises.
okay, yeah. Well, it'll be a mystery bagged.
Mystery bag.
Come
Yeah.
back next week and find out what's in the bag.
That's right. Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Sweet.
All right. Well, thank you everyone who joined. I know we didn't like do any news blasts or any social media about it. It was sort of like surprise stream. But really appreciate y'all coming in to hang out with us, and love to see y'all chat. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Thanks for dropping by.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.